Welcome everybody, EShot Nation. Once again, I said everybody and not EShot Nation. I'm really trying to work on that. Maybe next episode we'll get that. As you can see though on screen, we have a special guest once again, Brandon B. Clark, TBE. Brandon, how have you been since the last episode?
Great, just playing a lot of CoD and watching a lot of League of Legends. So, relevant information, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's definitely two topics that we will be covering today in this episode. Actually, a lot has gone on in the esports world since we did our last episode with Anthony. Was that really our last one?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah. If you haven't watched that one, go check that out. It's a bit on the longer side, but it definitely funny and just a good talk with him and reconnecting with him. So Keo, we'll transition to you. How have you been in the last week here?
Been doing all right. Been pretty solid. Working a little bit more than normal lately with it going in the fourth quarter. And in retail, it's a lot heavier in that time of year. So a lot more hours, but I've been putting a lot of time in the blackout, especially. Got my back-to-back duo win or my back-to-back solo win finally. That was very good feeling.
Good.
I actually unlocked Prophet, and I just unlocked what's her name, Scarlet.
Yeah, I was wondering how did you unlock that character? I saw that on stream today.
Prophet. Wait, which one? Prophet or
Scarlet.
Okay, Scarlet. You have to get one of her her little token thing. I don't know what it is, and then basically you just have to run someone over with the vehicle or kill them with the vehicle, which for me is something I do all the time. So I was like, real easy. Got that the same game, and yeah, so she got released yesterday, I believe. So that's pretty cool.
I did see that zombies were yesterday. Yeah,
got a chance to get her. She's probably one of the few zombie ones I'd actually go after. And I was stoked about the Prophet one because that one requires you to win while getting the tokens. So that's pretty cool. And having the perks, which is ridiculous.
I mean, of the ones that I've seen or that we've seen, that seems to be the hardest one. So far, the only one I've seen that requires you to win. Yeah.
Which when you get it, maybe 1 out of 10 games.
Character, like a skin for a character, basically?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just, how you use Prophet in multiplayer. They just, if you unlock a skin, you can use them in a blackout, so...
Oh, okay.
But each character has different specifications or little tasks you have to complete in order to use them.
Okay.
I mean, let's. Here's the thing: League of Legends happened a little bit before the 2K, so let's start there. I was kind of surprised, I guess. I definitely thought Fnatic was going to win, but.
So
I was proven
you guys
wrong.
did was after the C9 lost to Fnatic?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about the finals strictly, pretty much.
Yeah, we're on the finals. We're on the finals now.
Yeah. First impression is same as Nate's. I was super surprised Fnatic didn't put up a better fight. I thought they were a really, really strong team, and they would at least, go to game 4 or 5. Apparently that didn't happen, but I'm kind of disappointed about it, to be honest, because you have all this hype of Western having 3 out of the 4 teams in semifinals, and to come up short to that one other team, it's just kind of crappy. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, it sounds like Keo's mic has been cut off. We do not hear him in the Google Hangout anymore. I do see him trying to figure that out in the webcam, as you guys probably can't also. So currently, Brandon, and it's just you and me right now going on the chat. So,
well, yeah. I mean, what's your thoughts? When you hear this sentence, 3 teams make it from Western Hemisphere into World Semis.
Man,
what would your first thought be there? Let's just stop there. What would your first thought?
My first thought that I wouldn't believe it. Being realistically, right, the western part of the world has never been that dominant force that
maybe been one slipped in because of an easy bracket or slipped in, but never 3 4 teams in semis. You would have been ecstatic, right? You would have been like, wow, we legitimately have a 75% chance to kind of take the reins from what had been the Koreans and Chinese people. dominating League of Legends over the last couple of years, and kind of start a new generation where the Western side of the world could actually hang with these people, in which it's never happened before. Come to find out, 6 matches later, the Western Hemisphere, um, talking about EU actually, got destroyed by Invictus Gaming. The one thing I was mainly surprised about was to hear the fact that Fnatic 2-0'd Invictus Gaming in the freaking group stages, and then they go to the finals, and what do you think happened? They just froze? Like, I think they just played scared, froze. Like, they got some of the best players in the world on their team. Talent is not an excuse.
I don't know. I mean, you look at it from a like strategy or coaching spot, and maybe that's why Korea or like the China Asian countries are so much better, is they took like what they learned in those 2 games and actually applied it to the world finals, and were able to, obviously they 3-0'd Fnatic.
Well, I guess
so
that's how you know the best team won, right? They might not have been the best team at the beginning of the tournament.
Oh, I think we got Keo back.
Can you hear me again?
Yep, we got you.
They were from hearing Golden Glue and a couple of other NA players from scrims, Invictus Gaming was heard to be destroying everyone. So to hear that I think Fnatic 2-0ing them in groups is way more surprising than Invictus 3-0ing them in finals. But still, with all things considered, you would think Fnatic would have put up a better fight. Like I said, I came away with it kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, either way, well, Invictus won obviously, but I definitely thought it was going at least 5. I truly thought it would be like a full best of series where it would come down to that last match, and I don't know. It's just I was surprised. Like, obviously I didn't watch it. I was doing other things, but when I saw the the final score, I was definitely surprised that it was a 3-0 for Invictus. If I would have saw 3-0, I would have thought it was for Fnatic. But Keo, since you have your mic back, what do you think about the finals there?
I mean, you guys touched on basically everything.
We were thinking, like, did you feel surprised when you see a 3-0, or were you like kind of like, oh, like that?
I was disappointed. I wasn't really surprised. I feel like if either team got a really good game 1, they could easily snowball that to a 3-0. They both had shown 3-0s previously. A little disappointed it didn't go to 5 games, but other than that, it was 3 solid games. So they showed that they were the best team in the world. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly. And we can all 3 agree on that the best team in the world won, and which is always a good thing to see in sports. Not from a fan perspective, but an overall competitiveness perspective. To see the best team win usually is how it should go, and to see something go a script like that. And it's not that the best team won. I mean, the Western Hemisphere of League of Legends did put itself on the map, and I think it's going to be a lot harder in the years to come for them to make it out of groups and make it into semis, because Koreans will not take them nearly as lightly as they have been.
I mean, do you think it was just an off year for Korea though?
I would say any year SKT isn't at the top is going to be an off year, but you could also spin that in sense that Korea's teams got better. But from what I've seen, I think that it was a down year for Korea, but not China. China had the 2 best teams in the world per se.
Yeah, and I mean, if RNG plays Invictus Gaming, if they beat G2 there and play Invictus Gaming,
they win.
A likely chance that we don't see Invictus in the finals, and then there's a likely chance that we do see Fnatic putting up a better fight against RNG.
Exactly. So what I heard was that what I was hearing about the LPL, the Chinese League of Legends series, is that Invictus Gaming was the regular season kings, but once it got down to playoffs, they always lose to RNG because RNG had the experience, had the teamwork, had the chemistry, but Invictus had the pieces to beat them. Now you get to the final stage and everything's coming together, and they were able to adapt the very best. And from the start of the weekend to the end, or the start of the tournament to the end of the tournament, they showed why they're the best team. So I'm okay with the best team winning, but also disappointed that we sucked, aka the Western Hemisphere of League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean it's. I don't think there's really much more
Right,
to
because
it.
I'm still kind of disappointed. I'm still like I really like Fnatic too. I know I'm not from EU or anything, but over watching the past year of League of Legends, Fnatic has really grown on me, and I've really come to see that Reckless is the ADC for Fnatic is one of the best in the world, and to see him not get what he dreamed of is kind of sad. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough to. I mean, going into the tournament, I don't think any of us really wanted to see an EU
Yeah.
team, but we also didn't want to see Korea win either.
Mhm.
So, I mean, Invictus is what, China? They're China, right?
Yes.
Okay, so at the end of the day, at least Korea didn't win, and
Yeah.
EU didn't win. I mean, would it have been nice at the end of the day to see like one of the Western teams win instead of the usual powerhouses? Of course, it was great seeing C9 get there at least to the semis. But I don't know, man. At the end of the day, like you said, the best team won, and that's still coming out of those Asian regions.
Yeah. Also, I do want to throw in the fact that most, I think the LPL and the LCK are both on the best of three game seasons right now during the regular season. So that helps, I think, immensely. I don't know why. Just to go off subject from the Worlds a little bit, I have no idea why EU and NA went to this one game structure. I think, sure, it might be better for like one game viewership, but the whole goal is to win Worlds. If you're trying to win Worlds, best of three is the way to go because that's how the whole tournament is, and then you get in the best, and then you get in um,
Both
the
five.
brackets, and it's
Yeah.
best of five. But still, getting that multiple game practice is, I think, immensely valuable. And the fact that NA and EU didn't do it, I don't agree with that.
Well,
What do you guys think on
didn't
that?
last year they kind of have that like it's
Yeah, they started it last year, but I guess to like counter my point is this is the best that EU and NA have ever done at Worlds. But I just feel like that playing one game, playing a whole year of NA LCS, that's only one game, and then you finally go to best of threes in the brackets. I just don't think it. I don't think it can be helpful for your world success. But how do you guys feel about that? The structure of the games.
A
Just
longer
really,
series is always better. I mean,
yeah.
straight up, like it gives teams the times to adapt, and it gives teams time to sort of learn how the other team's going to play and play around it. One game
Well,
series is better for viewership as all, which it's
exactly.
frustrating. It's really
And
frustrating.
that kind of showed in the I mean, C9 and Fnatic both got 3-0'd, but once they lost a game, they didn't really know how to come back and counter from that. It was they need to win that first game and dominate that first game and carry the momentum. There was no losing momentum in the first game and then coming back and showing like that you have fight. All three teams and G2, Fnatic, and C9 against their respective opponents lost the first game and then got 3-0'd. It just shows that being able to bounce back from one game is everything, and West and EU and NA wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes back to like at the end of the day, Riot cares about the viewership, and
And that's, but
yeah, and
you have to,
I mean,
you have to.
I can't speak for EU in any sort. I've never been there. I don't know people there, but we've talked about it in the past, and that's kind of that instant gratification and attention span thing of Americans, and I just. Man, I know when it was like last year and they did the couple games. I don't remember the exact format, but it was like 2 games or 3. I don't remember, but I didn't pay attention to the last games. I watched the first one. And that's all I cared about.
Yeah.
So from a viewer, like Korea and those countries, how we've talked about, man, they do that. League of Legends is like that's their sport, like that's
Yeah,
our
exactly.
football. So they're going to pay attention as long as they have to. I would imagine like how like Americans they'll take those 3 hours of their Sunday to watch their home team play. Korea's probably like that with League. They know these 3 hours I'm watching these teams play. I mean, that's how I at least imagine.
They probably show that through the viewer numbers. You have to take into account Riot has the stats for all viewership.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They probably saw a huge drop off after that first game, which what you're saying that Americans don't have like the longest attention span for something that they're not like addicted to.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. So Good point there, sir. Good point.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, I don't really have a lot more to talk about League. I mean, obviously, Invictus just outplayed Fnatic, shown by their 3-0 win. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I haven't had a chance to really watch the highlights of the matches or anything like that. Keo, I know you watch League a lot more than I do. I mean, did you get a chance to watch any highlights or anything like that?
I did not get a chance to watch highlights of all the games. I watched game 1, but like you said, I sort of stopped watching after that 'cause it's running into a time issue. It just Invictus. I mean, they're a team that knows how to prepare. Let me put it that way. They're a team that knows how to prepare for whatever matchup they're coming up against. When you have a team like RNG that you have to play in your regular season, like it really helps to learn how to adjust and adapt to difficult teams and difficult play styles. Plus, Fnatic was not the hardest team to figure out. They really did the same strategy all the way through the tournament, and it worked.
Play through the bot lane,
dominant, but they can't just keep doing that to win. You have to find success in every lane or in different formats. Like some games, your top lane and your mid have to go off. Some games, your bottom lane has to go off. Like you can't just draft for your bottom lane to stomp every game and expect your team to win.
Just to build on that, Keo, they not only did they do that, they fight for the bottom. Basically, all their team fights were focused on getting Reckless fed. They kind of just like put Caps on an island because they thought that he was just better than the lane counterpart. Well, against Invictus, the counterpart is arguably Rookie, the mid laner for Invictus, was arguably the best League of Legends player in the world. So when you leave him on an island, I was watching the highlights. There was countless times where Caps would get solo killed by the mid laner. Invictus is Rookie, and you can't just leave lanes on islands and expect your bot lane to destroy every game. As we saw, it didn't work very well. But did you see that too, kind of, Keo? That they kind of thought Caps was better than anyone.
I don't know. I did not hear anywhere that they thought Caps was better. I personally, nothing against Caps, but I don't think he's the best mid laner in the world by any means. And like you said, Rookie probably is one of the best mid laners in the world. Yeah. It's pretty obvious. Fnatic's strong side comes down to their bottom lane. Like that, Reckless is a maniac, and when you let him go, and you're the other team, and you can't do anything to stop it, if it's a terrifying feeling. But when you shut him down and you try to have Caps or anybody else carry, it's not going to work for that team.
Yep, it didn't work.
They can still make it work against relatively even teams with them, or teams that are maybe a little bit below them, and other EU teams, some NA teams, but it's not going to work against a team like Invictus, where, like I said, they can prepare for anything. And once you're prepared, it doesn't matter if you want to run bot lane every time, they'll shut you down. So, yeah.
I think it all comes under this. Like they put so much into the bot lane, and all Invictus's bot lane had to do is not feed, because they know that their mid laner and their top laner, arguably two of the best players in their roles in the world, they can just stomp their lane. If they just don't feed in the bot lane, then they'll be good to go, because their mid laner and top laner will be so far ahead. And that's kind of what happened each game. Is they didn't send a lot of resources bot, but they were just saying, just kind of play your safe, play your own game, and let the other lanes carry. And it happened, and happened pretty convincingly. So I mean, but we can all agree that the best team won, and whether you like that or not, it does show that the sport is in good hands right now. And we did show that the EU and NA are able to get to the finals and able to get to the semifinals. So I think this provides a lot of hope for EU and NA going forward.
Yeah, I would agree. Like you said, I mean, at least they got there. They had the best showing that they've had, at least NA wise. I don't think we've ever made a semifinal at Worlds.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think the very first League of Legends finals it did, but it wasn't like officially recorded.
The very first one, Fnatic won. It was officially recorded. That was our first time to the semifinals. It was like Fnatic versus Moscow 5 in the first one or something like that, which was a Russian team at the time. But that's a whole story for a different day. When it comes down to it, Korea definitely had a bad Worlds. They didn't make it to semifinals, which is the first time in history. Along with the first time in history, NA has made it to the semifinals. So it's one of those things where you could argue that an off thing, but when your Freak of Freaks gets 3-0'd by Cloud9, like, something's wrong. Something's going on. Cloud9, not to take anything away from them because they are amazing, but they were not good enough to 3-0 a Freak of Freaks, in my opinion. Like that, they were not a team that should have 3-0'd. They should have won. I agree. They could have won. They should have won, but it should not have been a 3-0. Africa just did not prepare for them properly, apparently.
And that goes back to the whole momentum thing. Once NA or EU won that first game, it was easily for them to carry that momentum in that next game. But once they lost that first game, it was almost impossible for them to regroup and win those next couple of games. So I can see how they did 3-0 them, but they should an NA team should never 3-0 a Korea team.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean,
at least not now.
I mean, it was just the fact that it was a recently 10th place NA team, and pretty sure the finishing first place Korean team, like that doesn't make sense. But I swear, if Team Liquid's playing the bottom Korean team, they should probably 3-0 them. Like, Team Liquid looks pretty solid. But I mean, and especially
I'm talking about in Worlds, but yeah, true.
Well, I mean, even there, like, anything can happen at Worlds, and like we saw, there was a lot of 3-0s. There's 3-0s that probably shouldn't have happened, other than C9s. So, plus C9 did show they came out of the group of death, almost first place. Like they definitely showed to be a strong team. But next year, I mean, hopefully we'll have 3 solid teams in there, and maybe NA will get 3 solid teams out of group stage.
Yeah,
maybe.
I was not just final thing on this subject. For counting everything, I mean, no one was really confident in NA going into Worlds. Sometimes you feel like maybe TSM will get first place and they're really good and you think they can make it. But this year you were not confident with really any team. At least I wasn't. So to see one team C9 and happened to be my favorite team makes it to semis is kind of everything I wanted at Worlds, and I'm glad I got to see it. And I'm sure most Americans are glad they got to see it.
Yeah, I mean, even being a TSM fan myself, I didn't pay attention this year because I just haven't paid attention. But I mean, C9 being that main rival for them, it was still cool to see. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Just having some NA team. It could have been 100 Thieves or
dang respect,
or
dang it.
whatever NA team it was. It was cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
So,
most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, League of Legends season is over. We have to now wait for a little bit before it starts back up again, and I'm sure Riot has some things that they're gonna do to make the next season even better than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
But now we have a new season for a new esport coming up. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. We had our first online real tournament sanctioned by MLG, the 2K. Optic Gaming having a perfect record, not dropping a map.
33-0.
Optic is back.
Okay,
slow down.
Just to stop right there before we get all hyped about Optic. I know Nate and Kiera, you're Team Optic fanboys, Nate shot lovers. I know you guys like your Optic.
Is this 2008? Is Nate shot in Optic still?
Oh, he's at the Optic house right now. So
he's at the Optic
studio.
Yes,
different.
and he's 100 Thieves, bro. Like, let's be honest here.
But
and like, I'm 100 Thieves. I'm not an Optic fanboy. Let's just get that out there.
I am.
Okay.
I'll admit that.
We'll leave it at that. Okay. But the last 4 games, they've said that Optic has won almost every single online tournament to start the game.
Yep.
Following that, they have not placed well at all in any of the online or the LAN tournaments.
Besides World, let's go back
the last
a
4
bit
games.
there.
Let's count back the last 4 games.
Excluding World War II.
Even shitter. So
Yeah.
we're on a game that is perfect for a team like this. Fast-paced, scumpy dude. He was melting through the tournament, dude.
Yeah,
melting.
I mean, obviously, again, didn't get to watch a whole lot of any esports this week or weekend. Busy, but I mean, you have a perfect map count. They must have played Search well enough. Dashy and TJ Halley must have helped their strategy at least a little bit to win.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
They were down 1-5 at one point in the match, and they came back and won that match. Like, come on,
Who were they playing? Do you know?
not a clue. But they were down 1-5 and they came back and won.
See, that last year's Optic would not do that. And I get it. It's online. It's not LAN. It's the first tournament. Teams are just working things out. But you got to think at least Dashy and Hallie are helping somehow.
True.
Dashy's playing out of his mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Dashy's going ham.
Who's the lead? Did they kind of come up with a leader yesterday? Like, was there a leader throughout the tournament? Who was there to calm down egos and calm down arguments and and
I mean, with a tournament like that, you really don't need it. You're not dropping a map. You're just running through people.
Yeah, and that's what we've always said about Optic though, is when they're high, they're like at the ultimate highest. They can't fight, they're best friends. Once anything starts to go wrong, what's gonna happen? Will this team crumble like it has in the past, or will it rise to the occasion?
I mean, you don't have the same egos as you have in the past, in my opinion. I mean, the biggest ego on the team is probably Scum, and he is literally returning as the king of CoD. And if this dude keeps playing like he is, he's going to be known as, once again, as the best sub in the game, or AR. But I mean, I watch him run around that SOG, and man, he just melts people. Which you can say is internet, but he's in the best position possible every moment. He's picking up kills that I'm like, I would never think to be in that position in that moment, you know?
Yeah, there's
one of those submachine guns, and we know how submachine guns are viewed in this game.
What does that mean? Explain, elaborate.
Submachine guns get beaten up close by ICRs.
See, nowadays that SOG, dude, that SOG melts almost everything up close.
The SOG,
the AR with the fastest time to kill up close is technically the KN.
Yeah.
Just an FYI. Just technically is the KN with the fastest time to kill. The ICR does melt, which I think it does come down to hipfire. The hipfire on that thing's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And the Maddox, like you run it with laser sight, it's ridiculous with laser sight on it. Like it really is. But that SOG, double stock, dude, you're going prone, you're standing back up, you're melting people, dude. I mean, that gun is insane up close. Like, and I mean, I'm talking like up close. I'm not talking like medium range. I'm talking like your shotgun range. You're up close. You're inside a hard point. Someone's rushing inside that hard point. If you're pre-aiming, you're gonna win that fight. With predictive recoil, like that recoil isn't that hard to control once you learn it. It's pretty basic. It
excites me for the first LAN. I just want to see how this 5v5 will go down at LAN, and 2, what teams can show that they have early chemistry, because I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is chemistry within the first event. Is that your guys' kind of number one indicator of success for the first event, or what do you guys use? So do you guys use these past 2K results as an indicator, or do you guys use more of just watching? How do you guys indicate of who you guys think are going to be successful at the next event or the first event?
I mean, the thing is, all the pros gun skill wise, they're all going to be pretty comparable. Yeah. They've all been playing long enough. At least the majority of them have been playing long enough where they've played multiple CODs and know how the guns work. So I think it does come back to what you said, is just, can these teams mesh and figure out strategies and plays and learning how, okay, if I'm apathy, I'm going this way, and I need to go, because he's looking to the left, I need to look this way, or whatever it is. That chemistry, that synergy has to be there. And we're going to find out really quick, especially in that 5v5 setting on LAN, who's got it and who doesn't.
You just mentioned a good point, though, Nate, on LAN, because online, chemistry doesn't really mean too much. But when you're in person playing in LAN, it means a whole lot.
Well, yeah, because
chemistry's there regardless, man. Online or LAN, you have to have chemistry. The game, like... it's silly to say that you don't have chemistry online. Like it's the same thing as when you're sitting on LAN playing, you're communicating. I think the biggest difference between online and LAN is now everybody's playing on an equal 0 ping. You know what I mean? Like, the game feels smooth to everybody, but you still got to have that teamwork. You still got to have that same chemistry. And I think the best way to look at chemistry is to look at these 2Ks. What teams are playing well? What teams are playing well when they're behind? Like, we didn't get to see that from Optic. But we got to see that from a bunch of other teams, how they played when they were behind, how the team communication was. And I think that's the biggest indicator for me is how these teams are playing in the first couple weeks of this game in the 2Ks. When it comes down to LAN, the game changes a little bit, but you're still going to have your best teams being your best teams. Optic's still going to be, in my opinion, finishing top 5 in LAN because they are dominant. They are a dominant team. They look dominant. I mean,
Yeah.
they may not drop map. I mean, it's very rare for them not to drop a map. I think this was probably the one and only time we're going to see it this year. But you can't deny that they came out winning. They came out wanting to win, and their team of 5 looks solid
Yeah,
in every game mode. Every game mode.
True.
So I think going into LAN, we'll see who the best, like who's going to compete on LAN. We'll see if any teams are competing better on LAN than they compete online. And that may cause for that dip for Optic, but at the same time, I think Optic's just a solid looking squad, and I mean they've been slotted into the number 1 slot since the roster was,
Yeah, I mean,
confirmed.
I would say it's either been them or 100 Thieves, honestly, with who has that.
After this 2K, I wouldn't put 100.
No, I wouldn't either. After that, but
Yeah.
just like previous to this event,
Oh yeah, previous,
those top 2 or 3 has been kind of up for debate, and after the 2K, like you said, Optic showed out. They showed up. They played very well. Obviously, not dropping a map the whole tournament. I think they definitely do jump to that 1 spot. Again, I think really it's going to come down to after Vegas who really jumps into that top 3. Because at the end of the day, COD Champs is on LAN. I know that's not for a while, ways down the road, but and
League's
teams are
on
going
LAN too, though.
Leagues on it. Teams are going to change and things are going to happen, but you'll really get a better picture of who those top 3 to 5 teams are after Vegas. Yeah.
So since we're talking about the 2K, we got to bring up the one issue throughout the 2K that everyone kind of had their eyes on. E United and Optic were playing in the quarterfinals, I believe.
Who's on E United again? Was that Clay's team?
Jacap, Clayster, Restini, Arcides, and Abezi, which is like
Okay. I got you. Yeah, ABZ or something like that. Yeah.
So they were playing on a hardpoint. It was the first map, and it was a really close game. Optic was kind of dominating throughout. It gets to the final couple hills, and E United takes control. They're down 15. They take control. They have full control of the hard point, and Arcides starts to lag out and ends up leaving the game, or ends up getting kicked from the game on the final hill, and Optic ends up retaking the hill and winning by about 3 points. That kind of ensued a huge crap talking battle, and a lot ensued from that. The whole point that E United was trying to make was if that happened to Optic, everyone knows that everyone would be on Optic side, and you would need to replay the map since the guy legged out and they had full control of the hill, and it ended up being 4v5. Since it was E United, they feel they were slighted and weren't given that opportunity, and they ended up losing the series 3-0 because of that, and that could have changed the momentum a lot. Optic would have finally lost their first map, and they would.
Here's my question then, right? MLG used to have reps or refs for like game battles and stuff. Why didn't they have like some MLG reps say, "Hey, you're replaying this or not"?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't it that simple?
Well, it came down to it. They talked to Optic. Optic kind of bitched and complained about it.
Is this E United that talked to them, or who talked to Optic?
Yeah,
I didn't even hear about this. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, and Clayster, they were talking to him. They were watching each other's streams, obviously,
right.
And they weren't even really caring about it. Optic wasn't even acting like it was a thing. Clayster even showed it on stream that Arcides was clearly lagging. They were up. They had full control of the hill. He kind of proved that Arcides lagged out, and that wasn't the sole reason they lost the game, but they did have full control of the hill.
Okay.
And Optic brushed it off, and then Clayster was like, "Oh, whatever, these scumbags, they can have a scumbag forfeit win. We'll just beat up the next couple maps," and we know that didn't happen.
Right. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a point where MLG kind of steps in and like just says like, "Guys, he lagged out. Replay it. Well, you get the score of when he lagged out. If it was 200 to 190 or something like that.
Yeah.
Each team Optic would have to get 60. And whoever it is, E United would have to get 50.
Yeah.
Just replay it from the point. If he legs out again, then it's E United's fault at that point. Then, it's like, okay, they're forfeiting. He needs to figure out his internet. He's a pro. You should have good internet at this point.
True.
But I think
What's your thoughts on that, Keo? You kind of saw it too.
Yeah, when it comes down to you're playing a 2K, you're playing a tournament that it's time sensitive. The option to replay map, especially replay map halfway through, is not an option. You can't do that. That takes away a lot of the stuff going into it. There's a whole momentum thing going on in the game when you're playing. There's score streaks. There's all that kind of stuff going into it, and you can't. In my opinion, you can't just say, okay, we're gonna replay it from what was it? It was like 245 to 220 or whatever it was. You can't just decide to replay that little bit on the middle hill, for instance, because it came down on the last hill on Gridlock, which is the left side on B bomb, I believe, or A bomb, whatever bomb's inside there. So it's not something you can just replay without replaying the whole map. And in a time sensitive situation, like you said, if he's a pro, if he legs out, that's sort of his problem, man. It's not like the optics said. I'm not trying to just agree with the optic, but this is the best way I heard it. But it's not a blue screen. You didn't get a game error or anything like that. You started lagging and then got legged out of the game. You're the only person in the game having that happen. And it happened right at the end. That seems a little weird. I mean,
Okay, I understand that, Keo.
But they can't replay the whole map. They can't do anything like that.
so.
Do you give an honest answer here? Do you think if that exact scenario, say, happened to Scump while he was streaming, or Crimsix, do you think Optic would have put up a fight, and do you think that map would have been replayed?
Optic would have put up a fight just like EG did, yeah.
And I think it would have ended up being replayed.
I have no idea how that would have resulted, but I would have gave the same opinion either way. You're lagging out right at the end of the game. It's one person lagging. Like I'm sorry, there's not much we can do for you here.
I guess the drama in between that. Either way, I kind of do agree with your point after hearing about that, Keo, that if it gets down to the last hill and he's the only person lagging and you guys had full control.
So my question is, when he legs out, did E United just stop playing? Or did they really just?
That's what Optic said. Is you continued to play the whole map. You didn't.
Oh, gotcha.
Now I can understand if you blue screen, like that is a glitch in the game. Like getting an error, like that is something that's not supposed to happen. I can understand there being an argument for that, but for simply lagging, like he's still in the game, he's lagging, and then whatever happens, he leaves the game. But when he left the game, it was like 240 something to 220. It was, or like 230. It was
okay, so
right at the end of the game when he was out of the game.
It's close enough if United had full hill and they should have been able to win even 4v5.
They were like 3 points off, 4 points off. Yeah, I mean,
jeez, okay.
It's one of those things where it's hard to win 4v5, but
it was like a 247, 250 finish or something like that.
It was pretty intense, but
gotcha.
But I mean, he was killed at like 236 or something like that when Optic was making a push. Like Karma went in and killed him.
Okay, so 236, 2-second delay. And then he legs out. Okay, so hearing like this now, I just gotta say the kid needs better internet. That's his fault.
I mean, the biggest argument that there was is that he was killed.
If you're a pro, you should be set up in a scenario where one, you cannot be hit off, and two, if you are attempted to be hit off, you can fight against it pretty easily. You're a pro. You're a top 5 player in the game. You're in a top organization in the game. Have the resources to one, fight that.
Yeah.
Two,
I mean, it's not like he doesn't have the money to pay for it either. Like these kids are all on contracts. Like,
yeah.
And he's brothers with Pristini, right? Or are they're brothers,
yes.
Right? So what are they in different houses or what?
I don't know how that works, but good point.
So if the other kid didn't get hit off and they're in the same house, for instance, like, what? I don't know. It seems like Keo, how you said it's kind of weird. It definitely seems kind of weird now, like hearing this information.
And I'm not saying there's anything fishy there. I'm just saying the timing of it all with how he lagged instead of blue screening and everything. I would not be happy if I was on that team at all. It'd be very hard to take that loss, but at the same time, I would not feel as if. Okay, I'd probably feel as if a full replay was needed, but I'd probably not feel like they were scumbagging us. I mean, I'd be doing the same thing in the other scenario, right? I'd be doing the same thing if I was in Optic scenario. You don't want to sit there and replay that whole map that you just. And I mean, the thing is, Optic had like a 200 or like a 150 lead on these guys, like at one point. So, like you said, like EG had to make it that big comeback in the game. So if I was Optic, I'd be like, nah, I don't want to replay this shit. Like we just almost threw that map. Let's move on to the next two.
So let's say this happens on land, though. You think they replay it?
that's a replay. Guaranteed.
On LAN, that's different because everybody's on the same host network, and if something goes wrong, if you're lagging, there's something going on with your console itself. They need to replace that console or something because there's no reason you should be lagging on LAN. If you get blue screen, they're probably going to replay it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, but it's a different scenario there. You're not all spread out, which brings me back to my point. This is professional gaming, and you're not in a gaming house. You're not in a gaming house with business internet,
or at least a studio or something.
You need to be somewhere where you're all playing together. I mean,
here's what I was kind of surprised now, like you bring up that point. Optic obviously has this huge studio. Why aren't all 5 of their players? And here's the thing: Karma, Crimsix, and Scump are in Texas. Scump was at the studio.
Yeah.
Why can't they have the they have the supplies they need? Why can't these guys like practice the LAN, like have your seating arrangement set, and actually play like you're in that game sitting?
Especially for a 2K.
So for Optic, the communication right now, what I can understand from watching their videos and stuff, is that they're essentially going to have what they call boot camps, where prior to a tournament, everybody's going to come in, set up, and they're going to set up in their exact LAN formation and play it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which to me makes sense.
I would, instead of a boot camp, why not just force these players to move to this facility?
That's my thing. They all bought houses in the area. Why not force them to stream and work out of here? Why not make it part of their contract? I mean, at the same time, you got to remember, this is Hex. This is not like Hex runs his business, and he said this himself. Like, he runs his business like he's a friend of everybody. You know, he's the dad, and everybody else is his kids. He runs it like that. He doesn't run it like it's a business. So he doesn't mind if things are clicking and working. He doesn't mind if Crim's playing at his house and Karma's playing at his house. Scump's there every day.
Yep.
Literally every day. Yep. So I mean, that's good, but Scump gets lonely. Scump wants more people there. So maybe Hex does need to initiate something to get more.
Man, that's the thing. Like you said, like League, they're all in the same room together. They're playing. Yeah. I imagine that's part of their contracts. Like, you guys are playing together. Like, build that chemistry now. Build the synergy. Like, like you said, if you're gonna boot camp, fine. But like, if you're all already living in Texas, go to the studio. The internet you have is probably not as good as the studio has. I mean, it might be, but
paying for business internet, personal business internet. So, and that's what Scump has too. So, I mean, that's when it comes down to it. You could probably get the same internet, but it's just a matter of being in that environment.
Out of the comfortability of your home, and putting yourself in an environment where you're supposed to adapt.
Yep.
And that's what these pros don't do enough. Which they always had the term online warrior. If you're put in a setting where you're practicing like you're playing on LAN, then you can't really be called an online warrior. Sure, it comes down to internet, but if you're in that setting, you're going to be so used to that setting and be able to adapt at a new, say, a new arena or a new venue. Yeah. It's not that you've played in that exact setting before. It's that you've played in different settings and know how to adapt to a new.
That's my biggest problem.
And that the value of that is infinite, and I don't think CoD hasn't caught on to that. They tried, but you shouldn't, and that's what League of Legends learned, and that's what EShot kind of brought into League of Legends. The ability to have a team house, but not everyone live together. Everyone has their separate lives within the house, or separate, or they even have their own apartments, and then they all go to the studio into a work environment and play their games and do their work there. I think that's the absolute best way to do it.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with CoD. Like we've said, it hasn't caught on, and it's still treated like just a bunch of kids hanging out in their like room, and let's show up for this tournament. I just really don't see that professional like setting that they want, or like getting that professional reputation that even Overwatch has, that just jumped into the.
Do that so bad, but it's like
these kids have to want it.
Yeah, you gotta
and I
show
don't
it.
see it from these kids.
Little actions and show that you're forcing these basically kids. We know that we were kids when we would have been kids when we got contracts if we were that good.
Yeah.
But to be able to be forced to move out of your home and be put in a situation where you're meant to adapt. That's what a job is, right?
Yep.
They're getting paid contracts. Like, that's what a job is.
Or like, even here's my other thing on this point is like, when it comes to the boot camp thing, like, cool, but I would even allow these like kids like Dashy or TJ Hatley to be like, man, like, we don't have any tournaments. If you guys want to scrim like from your home, go for it. But when we have 2Ks online qualify any sort of tournament, boot camp, you are at the studio playing with your team.
Exactly.
You're not separate just over a microphone. You will be here at this time, and you will play and stay until the tournament is over.
Yeah. And League of Legends learned that. They learned that the toxic environment of everyone eating their same meals together, doing their, just every little thing together can get to be toxic, and people start to get sick of each other. Yeah. But if you have separate lives and separate living situations, and you all come together at important times, that's so valuable. And COD really, really needs to catch up onto that and realize that that's how these teams succeed, is they do things in ordinance, and they have coordination. And I hope to see it soon. Do you think we will? Do you think the COD will catch on? I guess is the question.
I think it could. I think these kids, I think it has to come to the point where, like you said, Keo, where Hex treats them like father and like his kids. I think it has to get to the point where these owners are their owner, like it is their manager, like their boss. It can't, there definitely has to be that just friendly or like relationship, because at the end of the day, it is a video game, but there has to be that balance of, look, I'm your boss. You got to be like, my company is paying you all this money to be and giving you all these facilities and everything you could ever want as a gamer. Like, you need to be here doing your job. Like,
yeah, I wonder, I understand that Hex likes to be their big brother, but aren't you kind of slighted a little bit that Crim6 and Karma, sure, they have families, sure, Crim6 has a girlfriend, but use the facility that you guys
I agree.
That Hex just gave up his company for.
Exactly.
He gave up his company so you guys could have better resources and more things to use. And just to hear that no one's using it besides Scump, like that's got to be hard to see.
Especially if I'm Hallie or Dashy, man, like, go do it. Like, it's at the end of the day, even if you're not good, like, it's just a cool experience to go sit at that studio. Like, Hex has all the computers you need for streaming. You have the best PlayStations. Like, everything you want is at this studio. Like, if just imagine, like us, we go to our real job. These kids, their job is Call of Duty. Go to your job. Like, should it be fun? Absolutely. Like, you're playing a video game for a living, but
yeah, you're right. But most people in the real world that do work from home, they don't actually work from home all day. So they go to meetings. They go when there's important stuff. They're out of their house. They can do their little stuff, do their calls, do their setups, and
and
practice at home.
Yeah.
But once the real deal hits, they're out and they're in the field, and
that's exactly what it goes back to what I said. Like, man, if you want to stream at home, cool. But when we have these tournaments like the 2K, you're gonna be at the studio doing your job.
Exactly.
And maybe it's just because I'm jealous that they get to do this, and I'm just heated because they don't take advantage of it. But
exactly.
But look at all the other esports, like we talked about, man. Like, these kids are at their job. They go to train together. Like, COD just, I don't know. COD is still in that age of like the teenagers where they talk shit online and just don't care.
There's no film. There's no reviewing practice. There's none of that.
There definitely could be. I think EShot is one of the few owners that gets it and is going to make those kids actually work. I think Hastro is another one that, like, if you've seen NV Studios, man, that thing is crazy. It is so nice. Like, I guarantee you those kids are at that studio practicing.
Yeah, and you can tell with Envy, though, that they might not be the most talented players, but they'll do what it takes to win.
They work hard.
Yeah, they're hard. Exactly. Apathy is known.
Yeah, I was just about to bring him up.
Hardest workers in Call of Duty.
Yep.
Same, not with Aches, but
Aches is just Aches.
Assault was the same way. He came up and he played eights. He did all these things all the time. Same with Silly. It's like, sure, you see that from Optic, but you got to see the cohesion. You got to see the togetherness, and I don't see that as of now, and I don't see that generally in Call of Duty. But I really hope it gets to that point.
Yeah.
And one that'll create better. We didn't talk about that. That will create way better content. You'll be able to market your team, get more fans, bring more attractions to Call of Duty, and like you said, Nate, you had it right on the point. EShot gets that from starting in League of Legends and learning that side of it. He's gonna bring so much value to the COD side of it, and I'm all for it.
I just kind of thought of this now that you said like the content side of it, but how cool would it be though, like to have like a Hard Knock style for these teams? Like,
Yeah,
why
exactly.
Optic obviously has the videographers, they have the editors, they have all these resources. Like, man, just do like a week. It doesn't even have to. It could be like a bi-weekly thing of just like even a half hour, like a sick, like Vision's cool and all, but it's not like what I want. I want like a real series where I get to know these players. Like,
Yeah,
go into the interview room. Like, actually, man, I hate to say it, but Big Baller Brand Ball and the Family kind of does it right. They have the
they show
Facebook series,
every little day thing.
and that's if esports really, and I think 100 Thieves and TSM kind of do a good job with their league team, but these Call of Duty teams have got to do that if they want to grow their players and their personalities. Like, we need a team that people can go and be like, oh, this is Call of Duty, oh, this is kind of cool, I like what they're doing. And
Right.
and in turn, you're going to bring in more viewership, sponsors, and so on and so on. But
Well, if you look at Team Liquid or you look at League of Legends, they basically did that.
Yeah.
They showed all of their problems in this video called Breaking Point, and it was one of the most popular videos in gaming at the time. People that didn't like League of Legends were watching it. People that liked League of Legends but hated Team Liquid were watching it. Everyone was captivated to this video that showed basically the ins and outs of this team that failed, but it showed all of the raw footage and fans loved that so much and wish that every team did that, because you get to know the real people who you actually like, not just their COD personas, but them as people.
like their
and
actual,
you feel connected to a person like that. It makes you want to watch and makes you want to watch everything that they come out with and everything that they produce. It just creates interest, and COD really needs to get onto that, and viewership will start going up.
And
General interest will start going up.
And it's like you said, it's not like they don't have the platform. You
they
got
have all
YouTube.
the
You have viewers. Like, man, I'm telling you, if E United did a series like Hard Knocks, you know what? I don't really like E United, but I'm gonna watch that because I just want to know what goes on behind the scenes. Yes, exactly. Do I? Just sitting here giving these teams ideas.
All right, two things to touch on real quick. I got to touch on two major things. First off, going all the way back to gaming houses, it's definitely something that COD's already implemented. Many teams do have gaming houses or studios that they had, and I mean, we had the Scuff House for a long while.
Right.
It just seems like something that Optic in particular is not taking advantage of.
Right.
Which I know is going to the content side of things. That's where we get to see most of the insight to an organization in COD is through Optic, because Hex does push everybody to make sure they're putting out content in any way, shape, or form. He knows that you need to be building your personality while building your career. But it does seem like lately Optic Gaming has gone towards making videos with some of their other members, which I don't.
Entertainment. It's not raw footage. It's just like entertainment videos.
Well, yeah. But what I mean is, like, they've gone with, like, you could do those same videos with the team, but instead of doing them with Courage and, like, you know, their streamers, Maniac and Hitch, which I don't mind. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's not Optic Gaming as in the Call of Duty professional team that we get to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a Breaking Point. Breaking Point was good to watch. It was enjoyable to watch, but it ruins teams. Having all that information out there is not good for a team.
It's a concept.
Do something like the heist. The heist nails it 100%. That is something that gives you an insight on a player. It lets you know more about them and how they feel, but it doesn't show those negative fights. It doesn't show the things that hurts an organization when you put it out there.
So to go like that, why can't they do like a Hard Knock style show where, you know, you can edit out the bad things but have those cool moments, like when Scump hit 100K, like have people like
background showing people's like natural reactions to it and how they feel. Yeah.
And I mean, like, I just think of like this year's Hard Knocks, right? They had Jarvis Landry and his wife and everything. Like, man, Holly and like Bella, they're kind of big in like the COD community. Like, why not have like just like a Barlow like thing? You know what I mean?
I mean, make them down that they just don't want that. They don't want to share their lives with that community. I mean, we don't know what they're saying is. It definitely does seem like they need to do more with the professionals themselves, and other teams need to do more. I would, like you said, I'd love to see other teams put out content or regular, you know, bi-weekly videos that just give us an insight on their team. It would be very helpful. I don't think a lot of these organizations recognize how important it is.
Yeah.
they still are just focused on getting a roster together that can win, and that's not a bad thing. But when it comes down to Optic's been as successful as they have, FaZe has been as successful as they have because they have that
Yep.
YouTube that
They have the content.
exactly
that
the
And
draws
content.
viewers.
And 100T started successful and is still growing today because they started that from the beginning. Nate Shot from the beginning as an entertainer himself was like, no, we need to show like real and raw footage of these people and their daily lives
yeah.
and get people interested.
Which is why the heist is perfect. The heist shows you like it gives you a personal connection with these players that you don't even get from people that stream. You don't even get some of these moments. Most of these streamers, they just put on a persona as they're sitting there playing. You know, they're not themselves. Now you get to see them out at dinner and they're laughing and they're telling jokes, and it's stuff that it's behind the scenes stuff that the fans want to see. It's that's what makes me attached to the player. But I don't want to see somebody bitching out somebody else because of a bad play they made.
The whole concept
that should be entertaining, but that's not going to be productive for the organization. Now, if you show that and then you show the response to it, how they came over it, that could be helpful. But just showing negative feedback, showing the yelling and the complaining behind walls like Breakout did, or it's just not something that is positive for a team and the team atmosphere to have out there. It's something the team needs to deal with privately, though it is very entertaining to watch.
And a lot of people watched it.
But I mean, you can't have that for the teams. The team won't survive with that.
I agree, but I mean, we can also look at Optic situation last year. I don't think they really had a whole lot of it. I mean, obviously something happened between that team where they just boiled down where they can't play anymore, and I don't know. It would have been interesting to see. Like I get where it is bad for the org. I totally get that, but I mean, at the end of the day, like Hex says, content is king. And here's my other thing. I really haven't seen Optic people like putting out any content besides streaming. Is that just me or okay?
Scum puts out content every day. He posts videos. Crim6 does. Karma does as well. I mean, it's nothing big. Usually, like you get like hey, here's my CWL rules reaction video, and it's like 7 minutes long, and they're just like, I like the rules a lot. You know how Crim is. Crimbot just sounds like a robot. Karma, he does a lot of like he did a lot of battle royale stuff earlier on. I just think when it comes down to it, like with interest being in CoD, you need to be doing way more now. Like COD's got so much more. It needs to have the content with it. We just can't rely on Blackout being our only
exactly
content on YouTube because right now that's what it is.
It's kind of going back to those days of Black Ops 2 where COD was on top, and now these teams really got to take advantage and be like, okay, this is our time to like promote and shine, and they have to do it. And if they don't, it's gonna just be that circle once again where COD goes back to that mid-tier esport that no one really cares about.
It's not Treyarch next year.
No.
Organizations realize this is not Treyarch next year. We are not going to have a popular COD next year.
Nope.
Even if it is really good, there's going to be something else that's going to be better. If it's Fortnite, if it's something else, there's going to be a better game out there than Call of Duty next year. Right now, this is the best Call of Duty we're going to get for another 3 to 4 years. I almost guarantee it.
Probably.
So enjoy it while it lasts and get your content out, because whenever the shift is next year, you can make that shift smoothly because everybody else will make that shift from COD as well. So
exactly,
that's my opinion on it.
Get the content now while you can, and by next year you'll have the viewers, you'll have people paying attention, and you'll be able to just continue that content and continue to ride it out and just keep going.
And if it is a good COD,
even better.
You just keep going.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is Infinity Award, right?
It should be. Yeah.
So it should be.
Yeah, because
decent.
Sledgehammer was World War II. We're at Treyarch. Infinity Award will be next year.
God, man, I just don't want another Sledgehammer game.
No, Sledgehammer sucks. I don't know, man. We talked a lot about Call of Duty. Is there anything we want to go over?
We have to talk a lot about Blackout.
There was some stuff that happened. You are right. Go for it. Your mic is gone once again. Well, with technical difficulties and Blackout.
Biggest news
they got him.
Nine bangs were taken out of Blackout, and concussions were buffed.
Right. I think it's a smart move until they can figure out how to make the 9-bang use, or at least playable.
The reaction as of right now from everyone that I see is they absolutely love Blackout without 9-bangs.
I can agree. I mean, literally, when it came down to that, my back-to-back solo victories, I one of them I was literally just standing in the field and just laughing at people while I threw 9 bangs at them. I had a situation the other day where I had a guy inside of a building. I threw 3 9 bangs at him, 3 hit him.
Jesus.
I ran around the building a couple times just laughing, waiting for my time to run in and kill him. It's so OP. At the same time though, I don't think it's something that needs to be completely removed. I think maybe it's something where the and I don't know how it works right now, but you can charge it up to 3 times. So you can charge it up to the 9 shot, right? So maybe it's something that needs to be, if you just throw it with 1 tier, it barely flashes you. Maybe it just flashes you for a second and you're back out. 2 needs to be a little bit longer, and 3 needs to actually have an effect on you. But it doesn't need to be OP. Like, it doesn't need to be something that when I get hit by, I feel like I'm dead. And so they need to find a way to balance that, however they're going to go about doing it. Concussions, though, are still super OP. I don't get why people aren't complaining about concussions as much, because sure, you can see, but you're literally just a statue still. You're still just standing there barely strafing. Like, I basically can just carry concussions. What they buffed them by adding 2. You can carry 2 now. So I can carry 2, and then I can get another stack of 2, and another stack of 2. And what do you know? Now I have 6 concussions, and I'm running around killing everybody. It's very, like, sure, they can see you, but now I can just see the person who's going to kill me. I can see my death in front of me. It's literally no different.
Gotcha.
Unless you got reinforced on, but not many people actually run reinforced. So, but other than that, I think the big things for this update, which I'm trying to get the patch notes back in front of me, the biggest one for me was all the buffs that came to the guns. A lot of guns got a bunch of buffs. First off, the Blightfather event, which was in beta, is back. So you can go head over to the graveyard just next to the Asylum, kill the Blightfather. This is a limited time mode, so you need to take advantage of it. The loot that it will drop is supposed to be phenomenal. It's supposed to be basically like top tier loot you can get in the game. Moving on from that, we basically have the zombie characters we quickly touched on earlier. But the big changes I'd say is the Spitfire got some reduced recoil, which
that's good.
Makes it viable.
Yep.
This one's been pissing me off all day. The Rampart has a reduced ADS sway and reduced recoil, which is the biggest 2 things that made it unviable. That gun is strong. And I have been killed by it like 3 or 4 times a day, and I'm just like shaking my head every time. It's ridiculous. Yeah. The Augur, which I've been a fan of pre-patch, now I'm becoming a huge fan of, got some recentering speed, buffs, and some muzzle velocity, which just makes it easier to hit people. My biggest problem is, anytime I try to shoot more than 1 shot at a time, it's just bouncing around. You can't hit your target. Now it's a little bit easier. I think this is the biggest one for me, is the Swordfish is the gun that I did enjoy using, but as soon as you use it more than 5 feet away from you, like the spread is literally across the screen. It's top to bottom. You can maybe hit 1 bullet on somebody at distance. You definitely won't hit 3 though, because of how high the spread is, even with grip. So I'm very happy that that is being sort of tightened up a little bit, and it should be easier. All the element G's got basically the same buff, which is just recenter speed, which should be nice. The concussion buff with that out, and then a few changes to multiplayer, which aren't a big deal, and a few changes to that. Which I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think about this PC difference? Apparently, just quickly, the SOG is like super OP on PC. People love it. But on console, it's not as good. And this is something that people have been talking about all the time. It's basically like the PC almost has different stats for this gun. I don't know what it is, but what do you guys think about that? Do you think having sort of a difference in PC versus console, is that good or bad? There's no confirmation on the difference, but they are tweaking things specifically for PC that they aren't tweaking on console. Is there anything you guys feel like they
Is this blackout only or multiplayer also?
No, multiplayer. It's really multiplayer that comes down to. People love the Saga multiplayer. Yeah, people love the Saga multiplayer. They think it's one of the more OP guns on PC.
Huh.
I didn't know that.
Something I'll have to try out.
I think that's pretty dumb. I also think that if you buy a game for a console, you should be able to use the license on PC.
You would think, man.
Yeah.
You'd think.
But it's hard. I really wish that it's hard. PC CoD is a hard subject because I would love to play it on PC. I'm just not spending the extra $60.
It's fair.
If I buy a movie and I can get it digital, download. I get it Blu-ray. I get it 4K Ultra. I get it normal standard DVD, all in one package for like $25.
Yep.
Then what the hell is gaming doing wrong? Why am I paying $60 for a game and only getting it on one? Which I mean, I would try it on my PC if I had the free download. I mean, probably wouldn't run very well, but I would at least give it a shot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm definitely not paying for an upgrade to my PC just so I can play Blackout on PC. I mean, that's a no-go, especially with some of the stuff I've seen on PCs. PC has some wacky stuff going on too, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Blackout, I think, is really growing on me though. From the last time from the last time we talked on here, I know I didn't really care for Blackout, but it's such a nice change of pace from multiplayer when you're like getting tired of multiplayer, which is usually every day.
Yeah.
It is a great change of pace, and to be able to hop on and play 3 or 4 games. And
I just love the way the game feels, man. And
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, we've gotten our fair share of W's lately, like playing duos. We've been going off. And
Yep.
it's enjoyable. It's really enjoyable. Like, it is a great change of pace, and just being able to go back and forth is super nice between the multiplayer and the Blackout, basically flawlessly. But I think what it comes down to is just like, when I'm playing a Blackout game, I feel engaged in the game. Like, when I'm playing a pub, I mean, unless I'm going for headshots and I'm really close to getting an achievement or something like that, like, I'm not really engaged in it. I'm just warming up my shot, which are better ways to do that. When I'm playing Blackout, I'm engaged in the game. I'm super stoked. I'm trying to do everything I can to win and get kills. It's one of those games where it engages me like no other games engaged me before. Like, even Fortnite didn't engage me in this way most of the time.
Is there any update on when League play? Is that still December currently?
Yeah, December.
Nothing
Jesus.
has been confirmed, but I'm sure, we'll get that soon.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I mean, at least for me, League play is gonna revamp multiplayer. Like you said, I just don't really care when I'm playing pubs anymore. Like, it was fun for that second where I was grinding headshots and camos, but now it's to the point where it's just like, man, I don't care. It's pubs at the end of the day. It doesn't count for anything. But like you said, getting that W in Battle Royale is like, whew, it's a good feeling. It's totally different than pubs. So yeah, I don't know. Blackout's definitely fun though. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
And it's been relatively smooth. That's the nicest part. It's just been really smooth as far as just playing the game.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, you
it's a
think
well put together game.
buggy and laggy, and no, I think it's been pretty smooth for me.
Oh, yeah.
To get go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. After they did their first update, I wasn't getting that weird
we know you had
weird-ass
problems,
lag
mate.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, even pre the update, I was getting some FPS spikes occasionally, but that's gone pretty much away at this point. Even in like the 100-man lobbies, like, it's basically gone. It's super nice. Super nice to see that they're putting 100-man lobbies in actively.
About time. Yeah, it's good.
It feels a lot better to get a win when you have 100 people in the lobby than 88. Plus, I can almost get above my kill record. That's really my goal at this point.
What's your kill record?
Near 11. That one game where I took down those helicopters, that was my 11 kill game.
Yeah.
And I mean, with Brandon and I got a win. I think we got 2 wins. I was like 9 or 10 both of those games, and just I could not get there. Could not get that 11, 12.
Nice. Getting close.
Brandon's gassing me, but
No, but I think both those games I had more damage.
definitely not the second game. The second game you had like 300 damage to my like 1300, but that was because I just basically carried that game. The first game you did though. The first win you did have more damage to me by a fair couple hundred.
Yeah, it's been fun though. I mean, I feel like these podcasts aren't supposed to go long, but it's so easy to just naturally go long because you want to get off a bunch of stuff from your shoulders and chest. But what was that? Maybe an hour and 10 minutes.
I don't know. We'll have to go back, but it's true, man. Like, it's crazy just how long. Like, you think you just have a couple topics to go over, and then by the end of it, you're hour and a half, 40 minutes, and just like, what?
Need to.
Yeah. But I mean, the cool thing with podcasts though is like, man, you can just sit there and listen to them. I'm definitely gonna get on that iTunes. We just really gotta finalize the logo, and then we'll have that up there. But It's fun, man. Podcasts really are fun. They're very fun, especially when you have a couple people to talk with and bounce things off of, and
Yeah.
different opinions here and there, and it's just a fun time for sure.
Yep, and when me and Q are on the mic, there's going to be some bickering back and forth, so that provides some entertainment. As I have strong opinions, and usually Q thinks I'm wrong, so I mean, there's that.
That's
Sure.
not necessarily true. I just disagree with a lot of things you say, though.
Yeah, it
Well,
creates.
I like to play devil's advocate too. I mean, it's not fun if we're all agreeing on the same thing. So
Yeah,
gotta play
agreed.
some devil's advocate.
Yep.
Um,
So we can all, to sum this up, I think from my perspective is one, I'm very disappointed about the finish of League of Legends, but not disappointed with the overall process of Worlds.
Yeah.
it was good worlds. It was a really good worlds this year.
Exactly. Everyone enjoyed it. And two, besides Koreans, and two, COD and the updates and the gameplay is really taking a step forward, and in the content creation is really taking a step sideways, which is absolutely nowhere,
Yeah.
which
I agree
sucks.
with that.
I think the biggest thing we can take away from this is that all three of us feel as strongly as possible can that we want to see behind the scenes videos from these popular teams.
Yes, I agree.
We'll just have to send this podcast off to 100 Thieves. We can tweet EShot.
Yep.
Hopefully he listens to it.
We'll also target some of the smaller organizations.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we can hit up
Maybe
like
gets
Splice.
that foot in.
Yeah,
Yep.
Splice maybe.
Exactly.
Forever Alpha. I heard they're.
God damn it. No, well. So to kind of wrap up this episode, as it's kind of taken that time now, let's kind of talk just a little bit about our content, what we're going to be doing individually or together or whatever. Keo, I know you just got your Elgato. You've been streaming now. Video series, do you have anything you're thinking of or want to do or planning on, or anything that jumps to your mind?
I mean, there's a lot I have in mind that I want to do. I just haven't really found the niche for that yet. I know at the moment streaming sort of going to be what I'm focused on, just building up sort of clips that I can start, editing, putting together for future videos. Though I do definitely have to say I'm definitely going to be bringing a series to the channel soon. I'm not going to say much more other than
Cool.
there are a few games releasing in the next couple months that I will be putting a lot of time into that are not COD, and I will need to be streaming these and be putting up some videos for them. That's all I can say right now, because
Fair enough. I can
because
live with
it's
that.
gonna be it's exciting me. It's exciting me a little too much. We got a couple days, I think. Yeah, still got
Fair
about a
enough.
week. So give it about a week or two, and also you'll start seeing some pretty regular videos being put up on our channel.
Got it. I like
gameplay
this.
stuff.
I like the sound of that for sure. Once again, content is king.
Yes.
So remember that. Brandon, I know you've talked about doing some things on your own. And obviously you're more than welcome to join in on our channel too, if you want to upload or if you want to do like your own individual podcast, like about Call of Duty. I know you talked about the COD pod, man. If you want to create that podcast and join in and upload on our channel, you are more than welcome to do so. But I mean, do you got anything in the works right now?
Yeah, I will be starting up a podcast. I think I might be doing either my first episode tonight, depending on some people's schedules. I'm really learning that the whole schedule person has a very difficult job.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you're learning that.
Other than that, I'm very, as many of you know or people know, that I'm very passionate about fantasy football, and I kind of am addicted to ratings, rankings, previews, predictions, post-game interviews. So I'll be doing my own podcast with guests and friends, basically talking about the week at a glance, basically the up and coming week and the previous week, and going over the fantasy predictions and fantasy kind of revelations from the games, and kind of talk about the main points, and also go over. I'll be doing the podcast with a lot of friends and going over the league standings and kind of talk about the overall league, which is what I do every day anyway. But kind of turning that into a podcast and kind of having some structure to it and putting out a video It's going to be really relieving, and hopefully some people watch it. Probably not, but
Do you have any names in mind?
yeah,
Anything you want to share?
no,
Okay. Definitely not naming it the COD Pod though.
no, not naming my fantasy football
Okay.
podcast the COD
I
Pod.
I got confused earlier. I thought that's what you meant. I was a
No.
little
I think
confused by
throwing a
that.
name out there. I think. What do you? If you're watching this video, what's your thoughts on a podcast about Call of Duty called the COD Pod?
That's
Are you asking us?
leave it in
Or?
the comments. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I've yet to see any comments on our videos. Please, just one comment.
I know, just one. That's all we're asking for.
Just one.
Yeah, that's about me. I'll be doing this fantasy football podcast. I probably will have regular guests and a couple other guests, and I'll be doing a lot of videos myself. But you can find that out on my YouTube. I'll have to plug that in the comments. I'll be the first one to comment, and I'll comment nice video and check out my stuff.
So wait. You have a YouTube, which means you have a name in mind, which means we'll see it in the comments, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm excited for that comment, man.
So that'll be started, and videos will be put up, and hopefully I can make some more appearances on this show. And yeah, I'm out of here. Bye. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you're welcome to at least once a week. At least once.
How many podcasts are you guys doing?
We
usually do
two or
two.
three. Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah. So, which I mean, like I said, if you want, we can make one a week. Just the COD Pod. We can just talk about Call of Duty only, that once per week.
Well, I want to hear some opinions in some comment section here then.
Because like I don't mind that. Like we already talk about COD every episode. It would be sort of nice if we had like a separate sort of COD episode from our other stuff. But
yeah,
something we'll talk about and figure out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's me. And yeah,
I like it. Alrighty. With that said, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of EShot. Thank you everyone for watching. Or you know what? This episode might be on iTunes. So if it is, thank you for listening.
Listening.
And with that, guys, we will see you in the next episode.
Peace.
Later.